Hey everybody, welcome to MTG Nexus, both here on Twitch and later on the YouTubes. So I'm back streaming. Now that I'll have a more consistent schedule, I'll be able to stream in the evening, well, late evening slash early mornings on the Eastern Standard Hour once my new work schedule gets into effect. So today we're going to be doing some Jeskai Phoenix. This is a kind of a compilation list based on the works of both Team Lotus Box several months back and a young lady that did well in one of the team opens at the Jeskai or at SCG event. The big takeaway from this is the addition of Path to Exile in the main deck. Allows you to combat things like Hogak, Eldrazi, etc. This is a card that a lot of decks have kind of shied away from, other than blue-white control. Not a ton of decks play Path to Exile in the main deck right now. But it is a permanent answer to something like Hogak, Tarmogoyf, etc., which can be problematic for red-based removal to answer. Beyond that, you have a one-of copy of Detention Sphere. Other than that, it's just kind of your normal Pyromancer's Ascension build, which I'm still not entirely happy with Pyromancer's Ascension, but it's fine. When you do a little bit faster in the Hogak world, and then as your supplemental threat you have Crackling Drake. There are no Finale of Promise in this list, with the graveyard still under attack while Hogak is in the format. It doesn't make much sense to run a ton of graveyard-based things, so other than the Ascension and the Phoenixes, we're just running Crackling Drakes and things in the ice. Sideboard gets a little bit more interesting. This list is mostly based off of the Lotus Box list with some new additions. The big things that you get out of White 4 then is you get access to a bunch of hate cards, which are the White specialty in Modern. Wear Tear as kind of a disenchant effect. Along with a Braid, gives you outs to various artifact-based things, as well as having outs to something like Leyline of the Void, Nahiri the Harbinger serves as enchantment and artifact removal, as well as a decent win con when you pair it with Crackling Drake. You can one-shot your opponent often not really out of nowhere, but allows you to dig up your Crackling Drakes out of your deck, as well as cycling through your deck. Also gives you an out to exile various creatures, artifacts, or enchantments. Alpine Moon, pretty much here for Tron, can also come in against Valakut in a pinch. Fry, this is kind of tech that a lot of people have been playing against things like anything from blue-white control to the mirror matched, all that kind of stuff. Spell Pierce and Force of Negations. These are obviously cards you're bringing in, against decks like Tron, decks like Control decks, etc. And Ravenous Traps as your kind of supplemental graveyard hate to your two surgical extractions in the main deck. This is a tryout list. We're going to play some two-man queues for this particular video. Just getting a feel for how the White Splash feels, whether this is something to continue to work on, or if this is kind of just something kind of hokey. Guess we'll find out as we play more matches with the deck. So let's get into some matches. Is there a reason this is saying, oh, good old Magic Online refusing to... For some reason, it really hates Thought Scour and Thought Scour and Sleight of Hand, I want to say. It really hates in terms of transferring the cards into the list. Alright, so this hand's pretty reasonable. Other than the Path to Exile, it kind of looks like your normal hand. Probably lead off on Fetch Land for probably Hallowed Fountain, Serum Visions, then kind of go from there. See how the game plan develops as our opponent will be on the play here. Looks like we're up against the Twiddle Storm deck. Crackling Drake is a slow threat. Probably go ahead and top Serum Vision, see how far we can dig next turn. It's the most likely thing when they lead off on that. Yeah, that probably means Twiddle Storm. Which regular Storm isn't a terrible matchup for Izzet Phoenix, but it's not the best matchup in the world. Because a lot of what we have going on, they just flat out don't care about. See how far we can dig this turn. Maybe we can get some Phoenixes back. Why on earth did it go automatically red? Oh well, let's see what we can hit here. Pitch Lava Dart and Pack to Exile isn't going to be terribly relevant here. Let's go ahead and bolt them, use our mana this turn. Push through the mists. So they are missing land drops, which probably means they're just missing their second land drop, would be my guess. So I could try to Thought Scour to hit Lotus Field. Feels like a bit of a loosey-goosey play. Is that worth it, though? Could Faithless Looting here, but we want that land on top of our deck. I think I'm going to go ahead and pitch Path and Bolt, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and Surgical their Grape Shot. You have any other way to win in their main deck? And our opponent concedes. Alright. Got a little bit lucky there, not gonna lie. So, cards we're probably interested in. I tend to have Aria Flame and Thing in the Ice as alternative win cons. I could bring in some amount of protection red. Obviously, Spell Pierce and Force of Negations are reasonable. Ravenous Traps are probably alright. Alpine Moon shutting down their land could be good. Do I want to bring in Wear Tear? Maybe. Like, Purge and Tear only target Aria Flame specifically. Circle of Protection Red gives us protection from Aria Flame only. What cards are we not interested in? Probably Path to Exile. Probably Lava Dart. They could be bringing in Things in the Ice, so maybe that's some consideration to leave in paths. I think once Aria Flame... Yeah, I think once Aria Flame was printed, the main onus to switch to white kind of changed up. Like, there was no... Like, Aria Flame kind of solved a lot of the deck's problems, and the only real reason to splash into white is, like, Path to Exile and some sideboard cards. So, alright, so, got that going on. Do we want to... I'm going to leave in the pass just in case they bring in the Thing in the Ice plan. I don't know that they will, but I'd rather not get caught with my proverbial pants down. Ascension's probably not what we want to be doing in this matchup. And then... Thought Scour that. Already got rid of the Lava Dart. Tension sphere is fine. I think I'm going to go ahead and like do a hedge split here. It's kind of like 2 answers to Thing, 2 answers to Arya. Maybe trim. It'll be on YouTube later. I'm broadcasting on here, and I'm going to be transferring it over to YouTube after the broadcast is done. I tried the whole dual broadcasting thing a while ago. It just doesn't seem to work out well. And I think I didn't get a chance to sideboard. I did not. So, took too long chatting. I mean, this hand's probably fine in the matchup, so we'll go ahead and keep it. Yeah, that's one of the problems with broadcasting is sometimes you just chat too long and don't get the sideboard. Hopefully we'll get to see whatever their game plan is here. Who knows, I mean, with a fasting in the ice, we can kill them before they can set up, but that's kind of unlikely. Yeah, multitasking is not something I'm always great at, so... Definitely interested in the Morphos. Unfortunately, next turn we're probably just going to be... You seriously bringing Thing in the ice? Alright, sure. Just that, and the Flooded Strand. Path the Thing in the ice. Opponent obviously could play... No, I'm just doing 2-man queues with this particular build. I think there's a pretty good chance we're dead next turn, so... Pitch... Thing... Steam Vents here. So, So the problem is, what do I even surgical here? Like, their land's already in play. Well, that's cool, man. How'd it go for you? Their hand is terrible. So they brought in the Things of the Ice and the Aria of Flames and Empty the Warrens. Well, that's presuming Jun doesn't, like, adjust, so I could flashback looting, hope to hit a land here? If we hit a land, they're just dead. Okay, so we don't hit a land, pitch that. Aria, this will drop them to 3. Presuming they're just going to twiddle this down. Yeah, I can imagine. Opponent has 2 cards in hand, sure. Serum Visions. We have Serum Visions and Psychic Puppetry in hand. Yeah, especially when they can chain off like this. They're ripping like a champ. Doesn't help that I didn't sideboard either. Yeah, that League with your deck went pretty good yesterday, Space Marine. Peer through depths, that's all they hit off that. I mean... Alright, we got there despite not sideboarding. Who did we play against? Game history. I was gonna say that's the same person we just played against, so we don't want to play against them. Yeah. Well, the thing with... like, Hogak will be gone. Phoenix has always had a traditionally tough blue-white matchup. Dredge, the fact that you could be Dredge without Graveyard Hate's pretty nice. Jund, I don't know. Jund's in a weird spot right now. Alright, so we're up against the mighty Darth Nerd. Should be an interesting one. Oh. My favorite nemesis, the basic mountain. Oh, this thing always gets me in this deck. I mean, sure. I guess we keep this one. I think we get rid of one of the Spire Bluff Canals, obviously. I think I want looting, but at the same time, it is card disadvantage, especially when we know what Phoenix is to do. Well, it's also very hard for them to be particularly good against control when, This is one of the problems with Izzet Phoenix sometimes, or in this case Jeskai Phoenix. It's just sometimes you spin your wheels and don't find a threat, and you really don't want a looting here. I mean, I kind of hope they discard spell me here. Sure. So I guess the way this is templated, Spreading Seas overrides this because it came in first. I don't know. Seems weird, but whatevs. Well, Entreat's such a legit messed up card anyway. Presuming this thing in the ice is just gonna die, but, you know, we gotta get our threats on the board. So we're up against some style of Grixis stuff? We'll just hardcast Arclight Phoenix here. Okay, sure. Maybe, man. I honestly have no idea. Like, his build seems a little weird. This getting remanded is going to feel really bad, but especially if they go snap remand here. Should be willing to bet is what they're going to do. Feels like some form of terrible Grixis Control deck. And that means they're going to get their Snapcaster Mage back. That's just all kinds of miserable. Looks like you might be right, Space Marine. Have you seen something like that before? Yeah, I suppose. I still haven't seen anybody even attempt to play that in Modern. That's kind of rude. In some ways, that's why I like doing the two-man queues from time to time. Is just the random jank you run into. I don't even want to say jank, just like the random stuff you run into. It's like, okay, sure. Feels like a terrible matchup, especially when we've drawn two of our main deck paths here. Man, they are going deep on some stuff, though, aren't they? Like, that, they have Snapcaster Mage, Remand, Spreading Seas. Like, just the random stuff, it's just like, okay. I agree, I'm just curious what the point of running it is. Just gonna hold that into my hand, more Faithless Looting fodder, basically. Though I have a feeling we're about to start getting Snapcaster Mage looped, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, because this is a miserable experience for a deck like mine, so. Alright, we want these, we want the Spell Pierce. One of Celestial Purge is fine. Nahiri seems reasonable. Fry seems alright. I think Rav Trap's just too cute. Cop Red isn't necessary. Cards I'm not interested in. Lava Dart. Path's probably subpar here. Because we're playing Nahiri in the sideboard, it's kind of a, if I hit this ultimate and they don't have an answer right away, they're dead. Surgical Extraction, cards that I'm not interested in. Ascension's a pain if they can't answer it on the way down. Extraction's necessary with that many Snapcaster Mages over on that side. Cards I'm probably not interested in. Bolts aren't great. Probably can shave some number of those. And then maybe shave like one thing in the ice. It's not great to shave on threats, but at the same time, Thing in the Ice isn't terribly likely to do a ton in the matchup. Ugh. Well, this is a hand. Two of our 4-drops. Feels like this is just too big of a clanker. This hand seems fine. Probably bottom the basic mountain. Probably don't want to get a second Faithless Looting right now. Actually, maybe I should have left a second Faithless Looting in case they Inquisition us. Yeah, Spellbomb's a bit of a pain. Pretty bad when you have like 2 cantrips and you know, you've drawn a bunch of your reactive sideboard cards and it's just like, eh. I mean, Ascension and Phoenix can both be reasonable in the matchup, but it just feels like really bad right now. Feel like we're going to get remanded here. What am I pitching here? Is it just both the surgicals? Feels like it's just supposed to be both the surgicals. You have Cryptic Command mana up, which is unfortunate. Unless they have Urborg, it's not like they can drop Dragon God next turn. Their deck just feels so bad, though. Like, most control variants are fine against... Wow, we're really going on the Lightning Bolt plan? still don't understand the spreading seas. Despite the fact Remand is a terrible card, and this spot seems pretty reasonable when they're just able to Remand Arclight Phoenixes. What on earth is their hand, man? So they targeted Lightning Bolt and didn't use it. Okay. What is their hand? Very weird game. Sure. Um, kind of choked on red mana right now. Maybe I should have fetched this untapped, but then we died a bolt. But I guess I just don't feel like Arya is that well positioned right now. wonder what they've got going on over there. It's been a weird, very, very, very weird match. Gonna crack your Izzet immediately. Izzet, whatever. They knew I had the bolt. Why would you tap that? Oh, man. People, man. Seems like they have issues killing Thing in the Ice, so maybe I'm not supposed to cut Thing in the Ice here. I think the surgicals might be more problems than they're worth. And is there anything else I'm interested in here? Don't think so. Basically, I'm trying to give Pyromancer's Ascension as many chances as I can. And it's a really, really grindy card. And right now, the format's not about grinding, for the most part. At least till Hogak gets banned. Not going to crack this, that way they don't have a target for Spreading Seas this turn. Yes, this allows them to leave Remand up, but Remand's going to kind of get us here regardless of what we do, so... Really? I'm just going to call my opponent out on that one. That's a straight up cheese play trying to take advantage of Magic Online's nonsense. Hopefully, they were hoping I'd auto pass and they could catch my fetch land. That's such a bag play. Sure. Take whatever you wish, friend. I don't normally get mad about too much on Magic relating to what my opponents do, but trying to cheese me like that, that's just BS. Like, this is a two-man queue, man. Try to practice. Don't like do nonsense like that. Just let the Thoughtseize resolve here. If they want to take my cantrip, they can take my cantrip. If I rip a land, I get to Crackling Drake next turn. I just take the Crackling Drake, sure. Maybe I should have kept the Jeskai Phoenix. Too bad they don't have triple black. I really wish they would jam Dragon God here. What would they have shocked in for here? Okay, sure. It's making my Crackling Drake that much bigger if it resolves. Feels like their last card's Cryptic Command. Sometimes, man, those lands just tilt you off so badly. Okay, command. Pass turn. Lightning Bolt, sure. No blocks this time around. Feels like the card in your hand might be like Anger of the Gods or something stupid. Alright, and I guess they were just dead to whatchamacallit there, so. Alright. Gonna take one short break. I'll be right back in 1 second before we play another match. Alright, we're back. Let's get into another match here. So are you ready for your Legacy event there, Space Marine? And seems reasonable. See, we are on the play. So this hand seems most excellent. See if this just dies to a fatal push. Okay, no fatal push, that's good at least. Just basic Swamp Bane though. Alright. Let's play another thing in the ice. Been a while since I've seen Dimir Charm. I screwed up there. I should have let Psychic Strike resolve, because it would have actually milled my Arclight Phoenix. Mindcrank Combo? Feels like Mindcrank Combo. Forget exactly how this nonsense works, but I think we're about to witness it. Infinite combo nonsense. There's an infinite mill there. So, cute combo, but I don't think it's really gonna do a whole lot. Down the lava dart. The fact that I even know what that combo is just kind of... in some ways sad. Yeah, 61 cards, YOLO it. We've definitely seen some weird ones in the two-man queues tonight. I don't know how Saffron Olive does all of his testing in two-man queues, man. Sometimes you get some good matchups, and other times you get this, and you're just like, huh? Why did I agree to do this? As much as I like Detention Sphere, I think, we got a Bottomit looking for more action. Because we're not guaranteed for this Nahiri to resolve, so... want to bolt this during the end of their turn, that way in case they're... For some reason, that way in case they're packing Force of Negations. Be funny if deck this budget's packing Force of Negation. It would be funny. Access to 5 mana this turn. Spewing that last bolt was dumb. use Force of Negation to protect the combo. Got a little bit bailed out there. Which means it'll be a couple more turns before we can kill them, unfortunately. Purge is like the only interaction we have, which isn't necessarily great. Alright, guess they don't have an answer. So 3-0 in these kind of weird... Actually, no, not 3-0. Oh, it's just game 2! Oh, man. Alright, so... Looks like they're more than patient enough to play around Spell Pierce, so let's go like this. His hand's got interaction, but is a little bit lacking in a threat right now. Sure. Seems a little loose to be dispelling that, but whatever. Let's get that out of there. Double force of negation seems pretty reasonable, though they are packing the spells, so that was dumb. Should have left up a red mana, that way I could get back Arc Light this turn. Oh, man. It's 2 arc lights so far. Their milling plan might come back to bite them in the hind end a little bit. You can never find a way to... Yeah. Of course, you have a second copy of Dispel. Got to hold up Fry here. Opponent kind of goofed there. Gotta get a little bit lucky with the string of cantrips here. Or our opponent can just concede even though the match isn't completely over. Guess we would have cantripped into some cantrips. So, opponent not even understanding their own combo, needed to let the effect resolve, then gut shot us. I'm guessing would have been lethal. But we'll go ahead and play one more match before we do a wrap up tonight. Been an interesting set of games in the 2-man queues. Not sure we've actually learned anything. Please don't tell me this was the same person we just played. No, it's a different player. Alright, cool. Sure, opponent good luck. Mulligan's to 5. What does that say about what's going on with our opponent? Tron. Alright, that makes some sense, I suppose. Let's try to spike some Tron lands, shall we? Nope. No luck on that. Besides, we need to hit like the combo. So. The combo, of course, being Surgical Extraction and a Tron land. So we got the clock, now we just gotta... Now we know they'll have Tron next turn. Kind of foolish of them to play the mine, but, you know, whatevs. I guess we hope their payoff is... Worm Coil, or Karn Liberated is kind of annoying. Alright. So, one of the Phoenixes. Question is, do I bolt it here? Sure. Okay. Sanctum. Fortunately, you have a Karn Liberated. Why can their payoffs never line up with what we actually have going on? It's gonna give away that something funky's going on here, but we gotta do what we gotta do here. Okay, so we knew one of the cards in their hand, that's now gone. Okay. Sure. Maybe you should have kept that in hand for in case of a faithless looting. Please don't have... Of course you have Ulamog. Why wouldn't you, right? Alright, against Tron. Spell Pierces, Forces, Alpine Moon. Stony. I think Nahiri is just too cute. Wear Terror could potentially have applications, but I don't know if I want to go down that far down the rabbit hole. Bolts and Lava Darts can all go out. Surgical Extraction is still a spike plan, although admittedly fairly limited, so maybe I'm just supposed to board them out. This will definitely be the last match for the set before we do a quick wrap-up. What decks did we play against? We played against Grixis Control, Blue-Black Mindcrank. Pretty easy mulligan. This hand's fine-ish. We live the dream. We cannot. It's unfortunate. Don't want to give them access to free green mana, so go ahead and shut that down. May as well surgical the Ugin, see what kind of tech they have. So they are on traditional Tron. Yep, just looks like they're on traditional Tron. No Karn the Great Creator stuff. Guess we're hoping to rip another land and start phoenixing them. Triple Arclight Phoenix. Hope we draw a land that comes into play untapped. Oh man. Alright. I mean, sure. Do we want to bring in Wear Tear? Maybe. Did we actually get there this game? Wow. Got there against Tron in game number 2. So Wear Tear could be reasonable. They're playing Cage. I think we're in desperation mode this game, so... Do I even want Path? I think the Ascension plan can go out, especially since we don't have any bolts in our deck to kind of leverage. So, here's hoping, right? This hand's an obvious mulligan. So what card means the least in this hand? Surgical? All gonna come down if we draw a land next turn or not, I guess. It looks like they're gonna have Tron on 3. It's kind of a little rough. I mean, we could have grabbed Spell Pierce, but I think outside of seeing exactly Alpine Moon next turn, we were in some trouble here. Please don't find the last Tron piece. Of course you find the last Tron piece. Guess it depends on what your payoff is. If it's Worm Coil, we could potentially beat it. Okay. Ay, 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 ay. Okay, are we going to get Ulamog next turn? And it looks like an Ulamog, unfortunately. Alright, kind of a sad ending to things, but Tron is as Tron does, unfortunately. So, quick wrap up of the Jeskai variant. I think it gives, obviously giving access to Path to Exile and some other random cards. Nahiri plus Crackling Drake came back to win us at least one of those games. Still not sure on the breakdown of Ascension versus Aria of Flame. Beyond that, the White Splash is something worth toying with a little bit. It does give us access to things like Detention Sphere, things like Wear Tear, things like Nahiri, a whole lot of just stuff that normally we can't deal with. You know, Path to Exile gives us access to killing things like Tarmogoyfs, or the like Celestial Purge obviously is pretty good against certain things. Celestial Purge is pretty good against things like Liliana, various different things like that. Also pretty good against Hogak at this point in time. So Stony Silence gives us a little bit of an out against something like Urzethopter Sword. Copperhead gives us answers to Burn, which otherwise can be a problematic matchup. So there is some worth exploring the White Splash still. Overall, I would say things were inconclusive because of the matchups we run into. Tron is obviously a difficult matchup. I mean, we have a couple cards. We have Alpine Moon. We have Stony Silence that could both slow them down. We have Surgical plus Thought Scour has been a chance to hit a Tron land. Unfortunately, we never quite kind of lived the Hail Mary dream there. Beyond that, I mean, really just a bunch of things to toy with in Phoenix moving forward, especially once the Hogak Menace is kind of banned. And beyond that, I mean, really just need to toy with the various different builds. Obviously, Izzet is the hallmark, the base one for the deck, but, you know, there was some toying with things like Traverse, the Uvenwald. You know, there's been some slight things with the blue splash or the white splash here. There's some things to look into for the black splash. You know, you could bring in Hand Disruption, things like the Unmoored Ego. There's a whole bunch of different things that could be explored with the Izzet archetype. I think consistency of the 2-color mana base is perfectly fine. I think a lot of the problems were solved by Aria of Flame, but I think we've been selling ourselves short by not necessarily exploring things. I wish we'd gotten some like better matchups, but I think that's just me not diving into a league necessarily. I mean, basically we played against Tron, Grixis Control, and I don't even remember what the first matchup was, but you know, we played against 2.5 relevant matchups, and the third one that was just kind of like, eh. The Mindcrank Combo is a cute little thing once you know how to stop it. And our opponent kind of punted in game 3, so that kind of helped us out a little bit, but you know, it's good to know about these obscure like combo decks and stuff, just as knowing ways to blow them up and stop them. But beyond that, deck performed pretty well. We lost in the matchup we expect to lose to. We did beat a control deck, got a little bit lucky in that matchup, but maybe Maybe the additions of things like Nahiri and stuff is perfectly reasonable in that matchup, but beyond that, just want to do something a little bit different this week, with the format kind of in a holding pattern with Hogak and such. And as always, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing on YouTube, giving us a follow here on Twitch, and we'll be doing more live streams going forward as my work schedule changes and a lot of other things going on. But anyways, this has been John for MTG Nexus. Hope everybody has a great night.